Spring 1960, Tel Aviv, accounting office, 3:47 p.m. Eli Cohen stares at the spreadsheet in front of him, calculating quarterly taxes for a textile company. The numbers blur together. Another day of routine work. Another evening going home to Nadia, who's 7 months pregnant with their first child. His office door opens. The man standing there wears an unremarkable suit and carries no identification. He doesn't introduce himself or explain how he got past reception. He simply sits down across from Eli's desk and says, "We need someone who can disappear." Eli doesn't ask who "we" is. In Israel, there's only one organization that recruits like this. I'm an accountant. I have a wife, a baby coming. I prefer predictable things. The man slides a folder across the desk. Inside are travel documents, bank statements showing double Eli's current salary, and a photograph of Damascus at sunset. The job involves traveling to Europe and Arab countries. Your background makes you perfect. Your Arabic is native level. You understand Arab culture. You know how to blend in. Eli closes the folder and pushes it back. "No, I can't." 1 month later, his employer calls him into a different office and delivers news with practiced sympathy. Budget cuts, downsizing, 10 days notice. Eli walks home in a daze, trying to calculate how long their savings will last with a newborn coming. The man with no name appears at his door that evening. The offer still stands, and now you need it. This time, Eli doesn't say no, but he has no idea what saying yes will cost him. The training facility exists on no official maps. For 6 months, Eli learned skills that would terrify Nadia if she knew the truth. A trainer throws objects on a table, 20 items, random and unconnected. Eli has 30 seconds to look. Then the objects disappear. Describe them, every detail. Pocket watch, silver scratched face stopped at 3:17. Matchbook from Cairo Hotel, half empty. Fountain pen, green ink stain on the cap. Wedding ring, engraved inside with initials MK. Leather wallet. Eli's memory is extraordinary. He can identify a car's make, model, and year with a single glance. He memorizes entire documents after reading them once. This gift will save his life repeatedly. It will also ensure that when he finally fails, he'll remember every detail of his coming death. The psychological training is worse than the memory exercises. One exercise involves Eli maintaining his cover story while trainers interrogate him for 6 hours straight. They accuse him of lying. They threaten him. They offer him coffee and sympathy, then immediately return to aggression. "You're not Camel to bed. You're Eli Cohen, a Jewish spy from Israel. Admit it." Eli never breaks. "You're mistaken. I'm a Muslim businessman from Beirut. Check my documents." But the worst test comes without warning. Guards burst into his room at 3 a.m., strip him naked, and force him into a bathtub filled with ice water. "I don't want to." The shock steals his breath. His body convulses. His teeth chatter so violently he tastes blood. "Who are you?" Through blue lips and trembling jaw, Eli responds, "Kamel, I'm in it." For 6 minutes, his body turns blue. His eyes roll back, but he never breaks character. When they finally pull him out, his trainer nods with grim satisfaction. "You're ready." Ready for what? Eli doesn't yet understand. He doesn't know that maintaining this false identity will require him to abandon his real one almost completely. He doesn't know that Camel Amen Tibet will become more real than Eli Cohen ever was. He doesn't know that the lies he's learning to tell will eventually kill him. 1961, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Camel Amen steps off the plane into humid Argentine air, carrying expensive luggage and wearing tailored suits. He's a wealthy Muslim Arab businessman looking to expand his import-export operations. He's been working in Argentina for years, building connections and making money. None of this is true, but Eli Cohen has disappeared so completely into this role that even he sometimes forgets where Camel ends and Eli begins. His apartment in Buenos Aires is luxurious, a cover that costs Mossad considerable money but sells the illusion perfectly. Wealthy men attract other wealthy men. Success breeds trust. Eli joins an Arab social club, a gathering place for Syrian expatriates who've made fortunes in Argentina. These are educated men, politically connected, often from Syria's ruling class. They drink expensive whiskey and discuss politics with the passion of exiles who dream of returning home in triumph. Eli knows exactly how to charm them. At a dinner party, he sits next to a trading company manager who drones on about cattle exports for 45 minutes. Other guests make excuses and drift away. Eli stays nodding thoughtfully, asking intelligent questions, making the manager feel like the most fascinating person in the room. Then Eli mentions casually, "I notice you export meat to Israel, but not to Syria." You mean you sell to the Zionist and not to the fatherland? The manager's face flushes. Business is business. The Israelites pay well, of course. But imagine how much more meaningful it would be to help Syria prosper, to support our people instead of our enemies. The seed is planted. Within weeks, the manager introduces Eli to other influential Syrians in Buenos Aires. Each introduction leads to another. Each conversation reveals connections, allegiances, political ambitions, and Eli remembers everything. Every name, every relationship, every casual comment about who's rising in Syrian politics and who's falling. Every morning he translates this intelligence into coded codes using a code book written in invisible ink. Each coded message gets recorded on tape, then broadcast via a hidden transmitter in his transistor radio. After each transmission, he destroys the code book with chemicals that leave no trace.
The work is meticulous, paranoid, exhausting. One mistake means death. One forgotten detail could expose him. But Eli never makes mistakes until the day he meets General Amin al-Hafs. Syrian Embassy, Buenos Aires birthday celebration. The trading company manager, now Eli's devoted friend, invites him to an exclusive party. The guest of honor is Syria's military attaché, General Amin al-Hafs, a Ba'athist officer with obvious political ambitions and barely concealed contempt for Egypt's President Nasser. Eli watches the general carefully. He notes how al-Hafs positions himself at the center of conversations, how other Ba'ath party members defer to him, how he speaks about Syria's future with the certainty of someone who's already seen it. This is a man who expects to rule. During a lull in conversation, Eli approaches with perfect timing and says, "General, everyone's saying you're one of the leaders of the party. That'll put an end to Syria's inferiority complex." Al-Hafs's face transforms. His eyes light up with the unmistakable glow of an ambitious man hearing his secret dreams spoken aloud. "You understand politics, Mr. Tabet. Most Arabs talk about dignity but do nothing. We will act." Within an hour, al-Hafs invites Eli to his private office. The general shares details about Ba'ath party plans that should never be spoken to a businessman he's just met. But Eli has performed a kind of magic. He's made himself seem like the one person who truly understands al-Hafs' vision. The general doesn't realize he's talking to a spy. He thinks he's found a wealthy supporter for his political ambitions. "The party will soon take power. When we do, Syria will need friends like you, businessmen who can bring money and connections, men who put the fatherland above profit." Eli nods with perfect enthusiasm. "I've always wanted to return home and invest in Syria's future, under the right leadership, of course." "Then return. Come to Damascus. With my support, you'll have access to opportunities other businessmen can only dream about." That night, Eli transmits the most important intelligence of his career so far. The Ba'ath party is planning a coup. General al-Hafs will be a key leader, and the timeline is measured in months, not years. Israel has been worried about the Ba'ath party's rise. Their extreme Arab nationalism and anti-Israel stance make them dangerous. Now Eli has penetrated their inner circle before they even take power. But what Eli doesn't know is that this success will seal his fate. He's become too valuable to recall, too deeply embedded to extract. Mossad will keep him in place even when the mission becomes suicidal. And it will become suicidal. It's time. 1962, Damascus, Syria. Kamel Tabet returns to his beloved homeland with fanfare. He rents a luxurious villa, notably located just blocks from Syrian army headquarters. The proximity isn't accidental. His parties become legendary. Syrian military officers, government officials, and Ba'ath party leaders crowd his home, drinking his expensive liquor and eating his imported delicacies. The villa becomes an unofficial gathering place for Damascus's power brokers. Eli has perfected the art of being everyone's best friend while remaining nobody's close confidant. He listens far more than he speaks. He asks questions that make people feel intelligent rather than interrogated. He gives gifts, Cuban cigars, rare whiskeys, business opportunities that create debt without demanding immediate repayment. Through these careful friendships, Eli meets George Salem Siouf, director of Radio Damascus, Syria's official broadcasting service. Through George, he meets Colonel Salem Khattoum, who reveals something extraordinary over drinks. One evening, the Ba'ath Party is ready to move. The military takeover happens within months. Eli feigns surprise and excitement. Syria needs strong leadership. How can I help? Khattoum, drunk and trusting, describes Syria's military vulnerabilities along the Israeli border. He talks about underground passageways secretly occupied by hundreds of Syrian soldiers ready to launch surprise attacks. He describes defensive positions in the Golan Heights that give Syria strategic advantages. Then Khattoum makes an offer that should never be made to a foreign businessman. Would you like to see them? I can arrange a tour. Eli accepts with carefully calibrated enthusiasm. Lieutenant Maazi Zaher Aydin leads Eli through Syrian military positions in the Golan Heights. The young officer is proud of Syria's defensive capabilities, eager to show off to an important civilian with government connections. Eli sees everything: the elevated positions, the clear views of Israeli territory below, the strategic advantages that would make Israeli counterattacks devastating. The lieutenant even shows Eli classified maps detailing where future fortifications will be built. "We can't let you photograph these." "Of course not. Security comes first." But Eli doesn't need photographs. His extraordinary memory captures every detail, every position, every vulnerability. That night, he transmits everything to Tel Aviv. The intelligence is invaluable. When the Six-Day War erupts years later, Israeli forces will use Eli's reports to capture the Golan Heights with shocking speed, exploiting every weakness he identified. But maintaining this access requires perfect performance every single day. One slip, one inconsistency, one moment of carelessness will expose him. That moment almost comes on an ordinary morning. Eli is transmitting to Tel Aviv when Lieutenant Ain appears at his apartment without warning. Eli has given several military officers keys to his villa, a calculated risk that builds trust and creates the illusion that he has nothing to hide. But right now, his code book sits on the table while intelligence about Syrian military positions broadcasts via his hidden transmitter. The lieutenant walks in. Eli doesn't panic. Years of training and experience keep his voice calm. "Come in. Coffee." Ain glances at the code book. "What's this?" "Crossword puzzle I'm working on. These Argentine newspapers have the most impossible clues." The lie is so mundane, so perfectly ordinary, that Ain doesn't question it. He settles onto the couch, accepting coffee and launching into a story about military bureaucracy. Eli listens attentively while his heart hammers in his chest.
This is how spies die. Not dramatically, but in small moments of bad timing. One surprise visitor during one transmission would have ended everything. But Eli survives. He always survives. Until he doesn't. March 8, 1963, Damascus. The Ba'ath Party coup succeeds. General El-Hafez becomes Syria's president, and Kemal Tabet throws the new president an extravagant party at his villa to celebrate. Syria's most powerful figure stands in Eli's home, surrounded by the country's military and political elite, all brought together by a man they trust completely, a man who doesn't exist. At this party, Eli meets an engineer working on Syria's Jordan River diversion project, a plan to cut off Israel's water supply. The engineer, pleased with his own cleverness, boasts about their dams being built to withstand Israeli bombs. "We've calculated every possible scenario. They can try to destroy them, but they'll fail." Eli asks intelligent questions. The engineer, flattered by such educated interest, reveals details about construction locations, timelines, and defensive measures. Within days, Tel Aviv has complete intelligence on Syria's water diversion plans. When Syrian forces fire on Israeli tractors months later, Israel launches precision airstrikes that temporarily halt the entire project. Every airstrike is based on intelligence Eli provided. But President El-Hafiz is becoming paranoid. Information keeps leaking to Israel. Details about secret meetings appear in Israeli broadcasts. Confidential military plans are exposed before they can be implemented. Someone inside Syria's inner circle is betraying the nation. El-Hafiz doesn't know who, but he's determined to find out. Late 1964, Presidential Palace, Damascus. El-Hafiz returns from an urgent kidney operation in Paris. That same evening, he listens to Israel's Arabic language broadcast and hears detailed descriptions of his medical procedure, his travel arrangements, and his conversations with French doctors. The leak is real. The leak is active, and the leak has access to the highest levels of Syrian government. El-Hafiz holds a secret meeting with his most trusted officials. He explicitly forbids anyone from discussing the meeting's contents with anyone outside that room. Hours later, Israeli radio broadcasts the meeting's details. The president realizes the spy must be transmitting via radio. How else could information reach Israel so quickly? Syrian intelligence begins monitoring radio frequencies, searching for unauthorized broadcasts. The net is tightening, though Eli doesn't know it yet. But Eli senses something's wrong. The questions at parties have become slightly more pointed. Invitations arrive with shorter notice, testing whether he's genuinely available or needs time to coordinate with handlers. Small inconsistencies in his cover story get mentioned more often. He requests immediate recall to Israel. Tel Aviv refuses. He's too valuable. The intelligence he provides is too crucial. Stay in position, they order. Keep transmitting. So Eli returns to Israel for a brief leave, promising his Syrian friends he's on a business trip abroad. He reunites with Nadia and meets his son for the first time. The boy was born during Eli's absence. One more thing he's missed while being Camel Tabet. Come home. Your contract with the Ministry of Defense ends in May. Promise me you'll come home for good. May 1965. I'll be home this time for real. It's a promise he'll never keep. January 24th, 1965, 2:47 a.m. Eli's Damascus apartment. Eli begins his transmission to Tel Aviv, following the same careful procedures he's followed hundreds of times before. Codebook prepared, message encrypted, radio transmitter hidden in his transistor. He doesn't know that Syrian intelligence trucks are parked outside, triangulating his signal. He doesn't know they've been monitoring him for weeks. He doesn't know the door will burst open in exactly 4 minutes. At 2:51 a.m., security agents storm his apartment. Eli barely has time to look up from his equipment before rough hands slam him against the wall. They've caught their spy, but they don't know yet who they've caught. They think he's Camel Tabet, Syrian businessman who was somehow recruited by Israeli intelligence. They don't realize Camel Tabet never existed. The agents force Eli back to the radio. They write a message. The Syrian army is in a state of alert. Transmit it, they order. Eli takes his time. His hands move slower than usual across the equipment, sending the message at a reduced speed that will signal Tel Aviv something is wrong. His controllers will know he's been compromised. It's the last thing he can do for his country. The interrogation begins immediately. President El-Hafiz personally joins the questioning. His most trusted friend, his confidant, his supporter has betrayed him. Who are you really? El-Hafiz demands. Camel Amin Tabet, you know this. Prove it. Recite the Fatiha. The Fatiha is the opening chapter of the Quran, one of the most fundamental verses in Islam. Every Muslim knows it by heart. Eli cannot recite it. His months of preparation included learning Arabic culture, customs, business practices, political history. But Mossad's training didn't include memorizing Islamic prayers thoroughly enough to fool someone who's suspicious. His hesitation confirms everything. You're not Muslim. You're not even Arab. You're a Jew. You're an Israeli spy. The president's face shows something worse than anger. It shows betrayal. For years, he's trusted this man. He shared secrets, ambitions, fears. He celebrated victories at Eli's villa. He's considered Camel Tabet a true friend, and Camel Tabet was always a lie. The show trial is predetermined. Syria will execute its most dangerous spy as a message to Israel and the world. Betray us and die. International pressure builds. The Pope sends personal appeals. The Canadian Prime Minister begs for mercy. Israel offers to exchange 10 Syrian spies for Eli's life, plus millions in aid. El-Hafiz refuses everything. He will not be made to look weak. He will not forgive this level of betrayal. Before his execution, Eli is allowed to write one final letter to my dear Nadia and my dear family. I am writing you these last words. My beloved Nadia, take care of yourself and our children. Look after them, care for them, and give them the best education possible. You are free to remarry, to give our children a father. I am begging you not to mourn for the past, but to look to the future. I am sending you my last kisses and to the rest of my family, especially my mother. Please pray for my soul. He's also permitted to pray with a Jewish rabbi, a small mercy that acknowledges the truth everyone now knows. On May 18, 1965, Eli Cohen is executed by hanging in Martyr Square, Damascus. Syrian television broadcast the execution live to ensure maximum impact. Syria refuses to return his body. To this day, decades later, Eli Cohen's burial location remains unknown. Even in death, Syria denies Israel the closure of bringing their spy home.